there's times when you just never know how you're going to get inspired. For you, how'd that begin to get inspired in baseball, and by whom as a youngster?
Getting inspired, it was more of like a bunch of my friends, growing up, watching them, the curiosity as a kid. That was what really kind of started it, and just wanted to be around friends and just kind of, hang out, play baseball, learn it, and it was something where that was very important to me. Being around a bunch of friends, just having fun. Really, that's what really started it for me.
We have somebody very special for you, and you told me this a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Jesse Chavez.
Yeah.
How did he inspire you, man?
So no, I watched him. Obviously, throwing. Just coming through the league and everything, and then watching him going from team to team or whatever. And I used to always tell myself, like, man, that must be hard, right? And then I found myself doing the same thing. And so, like, I valued how, he obviously went about his business, and how he always just went out and he was always prepared to pitch. And regardless of what people said or whatever, however they valued him, it was something where it was like, this guy never gives up, because I always see him back in the big leagues or back doing what he wants and just pitching and competing and stuff. And he never let somebody take the jersey off of him, And so that was something that inspired me the most coming up and watching and valuing, just because of the fact that when I was going through it, I had the same thought process. I would always tell people that he was somebody I looked up to. He was somebody that I valued because he didn't allow somebody to take that jersey off. He wanted to do it himself, right? So that was something that I watched him do a lot throughout his career. And, that was something special to me, because like, there's not a lot of guys in the league that does what he did, right? And in the sense of, just keep going. The love of the game, just wanting to keep pitching, and didn't matter who it was for. And even if he didn't perform well, he still kept going, right? So like, that was something that really stood out to me, and that was something I really highly valued and respected. So that's generally why I look up to him.
That was your surprise, man.
Yeah, I appreciate
want to
it.
do that
was
for you.
awesome.
Yeah. All right, let's go. All right, so let's talk about pitch grips. We're talking about this recently, and the way you design a pitch, starting with your grips and how your pitches have evolved through the years. Show me that.
Okay, so like coming up to the minor leagues, I would always have a four-seam grip, which would be just across the horseshoes, typical, nothing fancy, and then a changeup, which I would always go across the horseshoe, or the railroad tracks is what we call them, the guys that go this way. I would always get my fingers across that and just kind of like throw a fastball with these two fingers. That's what my initial thought was. That's how I was taught. I developed the changeup by long tossing it. You can almost trick your brain in the sense of when you're playing catch out to like 200 feet and you want to hit the guy in the chest, you tend to, put a little bit more effort into it, right? You tend to get a little bit more extended with the arm. You tend to throw it a little harder. Well, if you had a changeup and you did the same thing, you're going to let the ball come out exactly how it needs to come out, as far as rolling out the fingers, and you're going to see that action. And as much as you try to get them in the chest, it's going to be at the feet, right? Because of the sinking action that it has. So that was something that how I developed my changeup. I developed in high school and college. And then the breaking ball, it was always like something along the horseshoe, where it's like I would get my fingers there, and I would just try to let the ball come out this way, right? And that was early in my career, and I would always think, just try to get the fingers to the front. But as I went through, Tommy John and all that, I wasn't able to get through there again. Like I didn't have that range of motion to get to the front of the baseball. So I developed something that was very unique that helped me a little bit, but not too much. I wouldn't recommend it, but it was a unique grip where it was like almost a changeup grip, right? Same thing. I run them along the railroads, and I would just throw it just like that. And it would, for whatever reason, was comfortable enough where I could spin the ball just enough to have it go the other way, right? So when I got here, I showed them it. They kind of laughed at me in the sense of like, they couldn't believe it. They weren't making fun of me. They were just like, well, that's kind of unique. We've never seen a grip like that. So Connor McGinnis showed me the grip of like the finger along the two seam here, right? And then spike it up on top of the seam. And so that would be the slider grip that I throw now. And the reasoning behind this is because I'm a heavy pronator. So I go this way a lot. Guys that are called supination, like supinated bias, they are on the outside of the baseball a lot, like a Tyler Glass now, the guy that cuts the ball a lot, stuff like that. So this grip works for me in the sense of like I have to think of like a hula hoop action when I throw it. And the reason why the spike is there is not to make it spin harder or anything. It's just to get the finger out of the way. So essentially I want to throw the ball like this, right? But I have it there. And as I'm pronating through, the finger, the spike gets out of the way, and this is kicking the front of the baseball. And it pronates through and it spins the ball. Like it's just what it's been. That's what they taught me. And that's when I watched it on slow motion camera, the high speed slow motion camera, I would see that instead of thinking in front of the baseball, hang on to the baseball. And when I'm pronating through the baseball, my pronation is what spins the baseball, right? So the pronation the finger gets and then spins. So I'm pronating through the baseball, spinning the baseball, and it'll spin out. So that was a real teaching moment for me in understanding how like the breaking ball works. Like with a curveball, it's the same thing. Like, you know, and I don't throw a curveball, but I would imagine that's the same thing where it's like if you're gonna throw it, like you don't think front of the baseball, your pronation is gonna get you to spin that baseball forward, right? Does that make sense? So like I should elaborate on the pronation part. So anytime you throw a baseball, you're throwing a baseball and your arm is going to turn over to slow down, right? And then your lat takes over to slow down your arm. So that pronation part where everybody pronates when you throw a baseball. When you pronate, that's the hard part is like hanging onto the baseball until you pronate, and then the spin comes off of the pronation. At least for me, right? And that's how I typically understood and I learned how to throw the breaking.
As you've gone through so many things and stages in life and in baseball life, how important is baseball culture in the clubhouse? Well, the right culture.
Oh, it's very important. I mean, I've been in clubhouses where, you know, I was walking on eggshells, right? You know, and not that somebody was going to yell at me or anything else like that. You just didn't want to get in anybody's way. People have certain dynamics, certain routines that they have to do, they like to do, and they don't like it to be interrupted. So as you're going through that clubhouse, where if you got a lot of guys like that, it's typically very tense in the sense, not because you're going to get yelled at or in trouble, it's just that you don't want to be the guy to get anybody's way, right? And so that for me was different. But a clubhouse like ours right now, even last year's, it was just a lot of fun. Like a lot of people were joking around. A lot of people didn't take it like, you know, the miscues or the bad performances, like as harsh as I've seen guys take them. And they kept it very light. And they included everybody. And that was the biggest part where it's like, even rookies, guys that have just gotten there, you know, they've included everybody into the clubhouse, what they do, the celebrations. It wasn't just all about one person. It was about everybody. And that was the most important part of last year and this year is what I've seen. And I think that's why it's so different here. I think you talk to guys all around the league, if they've ever played here, they always talk about how different it is. And I think that's the biggest part. I truly believe that's the biggest part, just because I've seen different clubhouses. I've been on different teams, although I've never spent this much time on different teams. But when I got here, it was almost as if one, they've known me forever, and then two, like they wanted that personality to come out. They wanted it. They want me to get as comfortable as I possibly could, super quick, so that way I can go out and perform, right? And so I see it all time and time again. Any new face in that clubhouse, it's the same process. And it's so cool and it's so unique to watch because all they want is to win, obviously, but they want to have fun doing it. And I think that's really, really special. I think that's why this group is very special.
You talk about unique, cool. Who's Shohei Ohtani to you?
He's a unicorn, really, right? You know, he's one-man wrecking crew. He hits 50 home runs and does everything amazing on the field. But off the field, he's a very nice, quiet, goofy guy, right? He loves to laugh. I always hear him belly laughing. He's super nice to everybody, super nice. And he's always involved as well, right? And that to me speaks volumes in the sense, like, one, he was raised right. Two, respects everybody in the game. And three, like, it's not about him, right? He puts everything about the team. So like you want, you know, and everybody knows he's a leader, right? Like he's one of our leaders in that clubhouse, but you want somebody that's going to be team first, somebody that's going to be, you know, taking the time to talk with or maybe have a laugh with, you know, somebody that's just gotten there, you know, but he's also very, very busy in the sense of his work ethic, right? So when he's not in the cage doing his thing, or when he's not preparing to pitch, or he's getting treatment, whatever it is, he's spending time with the teammates. He's having fun. Like, and that to me that's the best way you can go about it, really.
We might have to have like a part two, part three here. But
Yeah.
Now as you talk about Jesse Chavez, there's kids watching you now to say, you know what? That's me right there. What would you like to tell those kids that are being told, nope, you're not good enough, you're not strong enough, you're not fast enough, you don't throw hard enough?
Well, I just think that everybody gets told that at some point, right? And, you know, it's their opinion about you. It's not true. And you just got to keep going. Like, regardless of, if you don't give yourself the opportunity by just keep working and keep going, you're never gonna get to where you want to be, right? To get into the top or getting to where you want to be, fulfilling a dream, that's never going to be easy. You're going to have a lot of no's. You're going to have a lot of guys or, you know, people hating on you or whatever. Like, you have to eliminate that noise and continue going and continue working at your craft, because at the end of the day, it's your life. You're the one living it. You write your own story. And that's what I fell in love with, and that's what I live by, is I write my own story. Nobody's going to have an influence on the sense of, like, telling me I'm not good enough and stopping me from doing what I love and want to achieve. And, you know, like, I'd much rather fail at trying to get there on my own versus stopping because somebody told me I wasn't good enough. And that right there, it should like marinate in everybody's mind, knowing that if you just keep going, you're giving yourself that opportunity and you're giving yourself that chance, and you never know what's going to happen. So that's my message.
Thank you for who you are, what you've been through, and what you do, because obviously you're a champion. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
今回も動画をご視聴いただき誠にありがとうございました。今回の内容はいかがでしたでしょうか。もしよろしければチャンネル登録と高評価をしていただけると今後の動画制作の励みになります。それではまた次回の動画でお会いしましょう。